Adding a quiz or a survey to your video will help make your video more interactive and require input from the learners to keep them engaged during the video. You can test your users' knowledge with a quiz and provide them feedback based on the answers they gave, as well as gather information and feedback directly from the users. There are a couple things to keep in mind. For one, there are some limitations on gathering information from users, which we will discuss later. Also, you have to produce your video using a flash output, such as MP4 or SWF, for the quiz or survey to work. In this tutorial, we'll be creating both a quiz and a survey, so let's get started. With a project on the timeline, click on the Flash Quiz and Survey link in the task list. The process for adding a quiz is almost identical to adding a survey, with the only exception being that there are no right or wrong answers in a survey. Place the seek bar at the location on the timeline where you want your quiz or survey to appear. Click on the corresponding link to create a quiz or a survey. In this case, we will go ahead and add a quiz. The quiz appearance and feedback dialog will appear. Give your quiz a name and then choose a numbering scheme from this drop-down list. The quiz feedback section gives you the option to include the questions of this quiz in the total quiz score for that video. This option usually comes in handy if more than one quiz is added to your project. And if you want, you can choose to display some feedback when the user answers a question. Here you can set the standard response for that particular question, but individual responses to specific questions can be customized later. When everything looks good, click OK. The question type dialog box will appear and you need to choose between a multiple choice question, a fill-in-the-blank question, or a short answer question. Let's start by adding a multiple choice question. Type the question in the question field and enter the first answer choice in the answers box. Click the Add button or hit the Enter key to add additional answer choices. In this case, we will have 4 possible answers, and will indicate the correct one by placing a check mark in the box next to it. To the right of the answers, you can see the feedback the user will receive when choosing each response. As I mentioned earlier, you can customize this text. Select the response you want to change and click on Edit. Here you can customize the feedback and add additional details such as the correct answer or a hint. Click OK. You might have already noticed that a preview of what your quiz will look like is shown in the preview window. But to actually test the functionality of your quiz, you have to click on the Preview button. Your web browser will open and a preview of the quiz will appear. Take a moment to review your question, and then close the window and return to Camtasia Studio. Make changes to the quiz as needed, and once you're happy with it, click OK. You will return to the Flash Quiz and Survey Manager page where you can add additional questions to that particular quiz, or you can add additional quizzes or surveys. We'll go ahead and add another question to this quiz, but this time we'll choose a fill-in-the-blank question. Again, type your question in the question field. Keep in mind that this is a fill-in-the-blank question, so make sure your question is worded appropriately. Type all acceptable answers in the Answers field. Try to keep the answers to 1 or 2 words to avoid mismatched answers. Also, if a word can be spelled in more than one way, make sure to add all variations. It's also good to know that answers are not case sensitive. Let's preview this question. Looking good. Close the window to return to Camtasia Studio. Once you're satisfied with this question, click OK to save it and return to the main Flash Quiz and Survey page. Let's now go ahead and create a survey with a short response question. First, place the seek bar at the location on the timeline where you want to add the survey. Then choose Add Survey. The survey appearance and feedback screen will open. Let's give the survey a name, but keep all the other default settings, and click OK. Now select Short Answer as the question type. As before, enter your question in the question field. Then click on Preview to review your question. The user will enter the answer into the large text field. Close the browser window to return to Camtasia Studio. If you're happy with the survey question, click click OK. Alright, you can now add additional questions to the survey or create new surveys and quizzes. If you want, you can also change the order of the questions of a particular quiz or survey. Simply select the question and use the Move Up or Move Down buttons to change the order. When satisfied with all the added quizzes and surveys, click Finish to close the dialog and return to the clip bin. If we look at the timeline, a quiz is indicated by a diamond and a survey by a circle. It's easy to drag and adjust the placement of the quiz or survey on the quiz track. Let's talk about producing the video and some of the limitations to keep in mind. First of all, when producing a video with a quiz or survey, remember that you have to produce your video using a flash output, such as MP4 or SWF, for your quiz or survey to work. The quiz or survey will be included in your video, but by default the score will not be displayed or reported. However, to report the score, you first need to choose Custom Production Settings and then Flash Output in the Production Wizard. Choose a template and the desired dimensions. If you click on Flash Options and then select the Quiz tab, you can further customize the appearance of your quiz or survey. For example, if you don't want the quiz to appear in the middle of the screen, you can select it from the list and then reposition it in the preview area. You can also adjust the opacity of your quiz. When you're done, click OK and then Next. This will take you to the Video Options page. First, you will need to enable the Embed Video into HTML option. You can then access the quiz and survey reporting options, where you can choose to report the quiz score and survey results. The SCORM option allows you to import the score into a SCORM-compliant learning management system, such as Blackboard, for evaluation. You can also enter an email address to have the score emailed to you. Please note that the user needs to have an email client such as Outlook or Thunderbird installed for this function to work. Unfortunately, a web-based email account will not work for this feature. Keeping that in mind, we'll enter an email address in this case and click OK. We'll follow the remaining steps to produce our video, which we'll then share with our users. After answering the questions, the user will be able to preview the answers and then submit them by clicking on the Send button. That completes the tutorial on adding a flash quiz or survey to your Camtasia Studio project. Thanks for watching.